Soye Savoir, we love Today FM. Today FM rocks.
Today's hit music on Today FM.
In this bulletin, Fijians frustrated with housing authority dealings. New schedule for freight flights announced. And Education Minister clashes with NFP leader.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Ateda Lendua.
Over 50 Fijians raised concerns with the Housing Authority Public Inquiry team last night, claiming there has been a long history of lack of transparency by the body. Many Fijians claim the authority has not been fair in its dealings, as some lots that were initially promised to them have been allocated to others. Nasinu resident Roni Roy says for the past 3 years, he has been kept in the dark about a piece of land along Kasa in Tavirua, which he had applied for in 2017. He says after 3 years, there's still doubts as to who is telling the truth and who isn't, as the lot he claims that was initially offered to him now belongs to someone else.
So I'm a taxi driver. One day I went to drop a job at that place. I saw one house is building there in that particular land. So I went to Mr. Leles, the sales manager for the housing authority. And he told me that it's on the hold.
What we will be doing, we will be analyzing all this information and getting a report with recommendations and then submitting it to the board chair and the minister, to the relevant minister. So
Fiji Airways has increased its freight flight to 10 a week. Minister for Economy Ayaz Said Qayyum said in Parliament this morning that the national carrier is seeing more demand for cargo flights. It is flying to Sydney, Auckland, Los Angeles in the USA and Port Vila in Vanuatu. Said Qayyum says these flights enable exports and bring essential supplies to Fiji.
These freight flights cover variable operating costs with a very small margin. Mr. Speaker, sir, I've received text messages from people exporting yangona and various other agricultural produce saying it's great that Fiji Airways is here because nobody else is actually going to take our yangona to LA. Air New Zealand is going to come specifically to Fiji to take our agricultural produce to LA or San Francisco or Brisbane.
Minister for Education Rosie Akbar has lashed out at National Federation Party leader Biman Prasad for calling her motor mouth and showing disrespect to women. The NFP leader had posted a video on the party's Facebook page on March 16th. Akbar says members of parliament should set examples for aspiring students. However, as a learned professor, Biman Prasad has set the worst example for students.
I was not disgusted for myself, I was disgusted for every individual who must have watched that. And believe me, it is not right for them to think it is acceptable for a man to disrespect and insult any woman.
I don't refer to Rosie Akbar as a woman. I refer to her as Minister for Education, responsible for the work of the Ministry of Education. That's what I refer to. So all these ridiculous insinuation that I'm insulting women and all that is a whole lot of rubbish.
The minister also raised concerns regarding the grammar used by Professor Prasad in a video posted on social media. Prasad has also claimed that the minister has made ridiculous statements during her tours of schools. Members of Parliament have been advised to leave solving the Ratukandava School issue to the Education Ministry. This follows comments from opposition members that the protest by RKS students are some of the COVID-19 effects that urgently needs to be addressed. Education Minister Rosie Akbar says Friday assigned a team to look into the issue when the protest and they are working to finalize their findings. Akbar says the issue was first solved on Friday. However, some 109 students that were in the dormitories during the weekend protested again on Monday, and this was why the school was temporarily closed to maintain safety and security.
I would advise the members of this House, please don't get involved in this. Let the ministry sort this out, and hopefully by next week we should have a result to the situation.
More students are now being assisted under the Ministry of Education's Bus Fare Assistance Program. Education Minister Rosie Akbar confirms due to the impact of COVID-19, more students are now eligible. Akbar was responding to a question on the $20 million bus fare assistance provided in the 2019-2020 budget. Akbar says compared to Term 1 this year, they're now assisting 9,435 students through e-ticketing system.
A total of 10,538 more students have been eligible and assisted under this initiative after the impact of COVID. The Ministry is urging parents and students who are now qualifying for this initiative, that is the combined household income of less than 16,000, to fill in the transport assistance form and of course submit to the heads of school so that they can qualify for this assistance.
Medical staff and members of the armed forces in Fiji will continue to mend front lines in the fight against COVID-19 in the country. Permanent Secretary for Health Dr. James Fong highlighted this while announcing Fiji's first medical official who tested positive for COVID-19 while in quarantine. Dr. Fong says there is nothing easy about working to save a life while also mitigating the risks of further infection, adding that it takes nothing less than absolute bravery to work in isolation wards.
We currently have 2 cases in Lautoka and 1 now in Nandi Hospital. I know the stringent protocols we have in place are a great comfort to the people of Fiji. But we must never forget, not take for granted, the exceptional sacrifices these measures demand of our healthcare staff.
Dr. Fong highlights that the 25-year-old nurse is recovering well and is Fiji's 11th border quarantine case. One of the key tasks carried out by the Ministry of Waterways and Environment is the monthly monitoring of floodgates. Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy says they have a checklist that ensures designated officers update the ministry on the condition of floodgates they're assigned to. Dr. Reddy was responding to opposition Niko Nawaikula in Parliament on claims of damaged floodgates.
The Honourable Minister in the same process also repair the damaged floodgates that exist in Northern Abua and the Rewa irrigation schemes. Every area technical officer should submit to the operations director that in my area I've visited all the floodgates, and they should sign off that it's all in order. So the moment they raise that this floodgate is the gate is broken or there is some problem and water is leaking, then the ministry deploys a contractor or the staff themselves will go and repair it.
The impacts of COVID-19 and climate change have prompted relevant authorities to identify certain facets of operations in need of serious attention by our fisheries sector. Fisheries Minister Semi Koroila-Visao says prevalent issues needing more attention are centred on the need to sustain tuna supply, fisheries subsidies, the safety of those on fishing vessels, and climate change impacts on offshore fisheries. He adds Fiji and regional countries cannot stand alone in addressing these issues and is calling on the assistance of relevant international agencies.
Ministers called on Foreign Fisheries Agency or FFA to undertake regional study over the coming year. The study will center around how FFA members could harness their comparative advantage with respect to regional tuna resources and maximize benefits that flow within the region. This could all include greater processing capacity, value adding, cross-border investment, increase in regional trade, improved transportation, and improved labour mobility.
Up ahead, Naitasiri lock after flying Fijians' jersey, and Suva welcomes back captain.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Papua New Guinea-born Naita Siri lock forward Chris Minimbi is thankful to be part of a team full of exciting talent. The 20-year-old is one of the youngsters who has been impressive in the Skipper Cup. Minimbi is a former Fiji under-20 rep, and he represented the Fiji Warriors in this year's World Rugby Pacific Challenge. Minimbi says the Skipper Cup is interesting and his teammates have given him a nickname to make him feel at home.
That's the thing, it's a family first, and then a rugby team later. I really enjoy it, honestly. First week I came, it's a captain called Mikao, and from there the name stuck. So yeah, just fitting in really well. It's very physical. That's all I can say. It's physical, a lot of skilled players here, a lot of players with experience, and it's just good to rub shoulders with these guys.
The Flow Valve Suva football side will welcome back captain Felipe Mbaravilala in this week's Vodafone Premier League clash against Ba on Sunday at the ANZ Stadium. Mbaravilala was suspended in last week's match against Lambasa after having copped 2 yellow cards in the previous rounds. As one of the key strikers in the capital side, Mbaravilala's return is timely as they prepare to take on one of the toughest teams in the league. Suva President Ritesh Pratap says, looking at the 3-1 win over Lambasa last weekend, one area they will need to iron out is their striking skills.
The performance of the individual players was quite high. Just on our striking department, strike force department, that's where we are working on.
About 20 families are expected to benefit from a charity drive by Club Toyota Fiji and Freedom Riders. The two clubs will have the Fiji Day Charity Motor Show on October 10th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. These cars will start from Nosori and drive to Nasese. Participants will have to pay a fee of $10 to showcase their cars, bikes, and four-wheel drives.
And show the support and come part and contribute towards this charity drive so that at least we can help minimum of 200 families this Christmas. And this charity drive is for us to collect groceries, second-hand clothes, or whatever families can give in so that we can make smiles to some 200 or so families.
A weak trough of low pressure remains slow-moving over the group. Associated cloud and scattered showers are expected to affect the eastern parts of the country later tomorrow. And that's your FBC News Now. Join us again at 7 p.m. for our major bulletin. In times of crisis, you need news you can trust. Get the verified facts from FBC's TV, radio, and digital news, fbcnews.com.fj, keeping Fijians connected with the truth. Enjoy your lunch.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.
Bula FM, number 2 NSR.